It's not any surprise that many of these companies, when you walk in, they tend to have progressive approaches to human resources development. Today, I bring that experience from the corporate world and the research I did together to help organizations and individuals improve their effectiveness and their performance to achieve their goals. And I do it in a number of ways. Sometimes I'm advising, sometimes I'm asked to sit in the chair and turn the PowerPoint to reality. I love those ones because I can put my results where the PowerPoint is. Sometimes I'm sharing it as a speaker, and sometimes I'm writing, including what I've put in my book, Procurement Mojo. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about is really encapsulated in that book. It's quite interesting. People often ask me about, how did you do it? How did you go from near barefoot and penniless to senior executive in 14 years? It's such an extraordinary thing. But the truth is that there's nothing really special about me, guys. Nothing. I'm just the same as this handsome gentleman here. Maybe not as handsome. I'm just the same as every one of you. Every one of us, we're born the same. We're born with this hungry spirit. We're born with this capacity to do extraordinary things. That's why staying close to kids helps us remember. Because when we start our careers and in the development that we're subjected to, especially in the Western Hemisphere, or should I say in capitalist societies, we lose track of who we are. And we lose our connection with this capacity that we have. When kids, this innocence I talk about, when the little boy is pretending to fly a plane, in his imagination, that plane is real. Nobody would convince him otherwise. When the little girl is feeding her doll and talking to the doll, that baby is real. And then we get into life and the corporate world and we lose that power to imagine what we're capable of. There's nothing special about me or my story. Everybody has a story, and everybody has the capacity to achieve extraordinary things. Every one of you in here has achieved extraordinary things. And you will achieve more extraordinary things. The people who work in our procurement functions have the same capacity if we just help them. Sometimes we lose track and we forget this stuff, but we're all born with it. If you think about somebody like, Prince Charles, there was nothing in heaven that God wrote that said, he shall be born Charles Windsor into a royal family. And then something that said, Sigi Osagie, he shall be born. And come on, man. We're all born the same as babies. You could take us if we were happen to be born on the same day in the same hospital. You could swap me and Prince Charles. Nobody would know any different. We would be subject to the scripts of our upbringing and our societal and cultural norms. Our parents wouldn't know any different. My dad might have asked my mom a question about a postman. But the truth is that we are familiar with people who we think are successful. But we're not familiar with the stories behind the extraordinary capacity that they've demonstrated. We don't think about our own stories and the mountains that we climb. This guy I'm going to show you next. He achieved some extraordinary things. He was terrible at school, poor academic record. He was dyslexic also. When he was leaving school, his headmaster told him he'd either end up in prison or a millionaire. I think we kind of know where he ended up. Huh? And this next guy grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, what we will recognize as derelict council estates. Think about the kind of things that happen to children brought up in that environment. At 12, he shot his brother in the arm for stealing his jewelry. You got to ask yourself, 12-year-old gun, where did he get jewelry from? But that's the social environment. And of course, I talked about the scripts we pick up. He picked up that script. He ended up as a drug dealer. He's certainly not dealing drugs now. We recognize him as a successful musician that he is, but also a very, very successful businessman in the States with interest from music all the way through to owning a sports team.